The Duchess of York has been removed as a patron of a children's hospice following...
Sarah Ferguson has always had a remarkable ability to disappear when things become uncomfortable. And right now, she seems to have done exactly that. For months, the former Duchess of York has barely been seen in public, and the few details emerging about where she has been staying have left royal watchers raising their eyebrows. Because, according to several reports, Ferguson has not exactly been living quietly in a modest retreat somewhere. Quite the opposite. One of the places she reportedly stayed after Christmas is one of the most exclusive wellness clinics in the world, the Paracelsus Recovery Clinic in Zurich, Switzerland. And the price tag there is astonishing. Guests at Paracelsus reportedly pay around £13,000 per night. That includes luxury suites, private medical consultations, detox programs, psychological support, nutritionists, personal chefs, and round-the-clock staff. It is the kind of place used by celebrities, business tycoons, and wealthy clients who want total privacy while they recover from physical or emotional stress. According to a Swiss source quoted in the British press, Ferguson stayed there from shortly after Christmas until the end of January. The source said she feels comfortable at the clinic and receives both emotional support and expert medical care when she is feeling vulnerable. Now, the obvious question people are asking is simple. How is Sarah Ferguson paying for all of this? That question has followed her for decades. Her last confirmed public appearance was at the christening of her granddaughter Athena at St James's Palace in December. Even that event was unusually private. There were no official photographs released afterwards, which is quite rare for a royal family gathering. Since then, she has essentially vanished from public view. But behind the scenes, reports suggest she has been quietly moving around Europe and beyond. After leaving Zurich at the end of January, she was reportedly seen in the French Alps. From there, she is believed to have travelled to the United Arab Emirates. Her youngest daughter, Princess Eugenie, had been attending an art fair in Doha as part of her work with the art gallery Hauser and Wirth, and it is believed Ferguson may have joined her there. Later reports suggested she travelled to Switzerland again, this time to Gstaad, where Eugenie was spending the half-term skiing holiday. More recently, the trail appears to lead to Ireland. Sources say she has been staying at the Ballyliffin Lodge and Spa in Donegal. Compared with the Zurich clinic, Ballyliffin is far less extravagant, with rooms starting around £110 a night. Still, it is known as a quiet coastal retreat with sea air, long beach walks, and wellness treatments. Interestingly, this is not the first time she has visited there. During a visit in 2024, she filmed a TikTok video on a nearby beach where she talked openly about feeling overwhelmed by life and needing to escape to somewhere peaceful for fresh air. Those kinds of escapes have been part of the Fergie pattern for years. Friends say that when pressure builds around her, she tends to retreat to spas, wellness centres, or private resorts where she can regroup away from the headlines. But the situation she is dealing with now is more serious than anything she has faced in quite some time. The latest controversy surrounding Ferguson comes from newly resurfaced material connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Emails released in recent years show that Ferguson maintained contact with Epstein long after his conviction for sex offences. In some of those messages, she expressed striking gratitude toward him. One email reportedly described Epstein as a supreme and steadfast friend. In another message, she thanked him for his generosity and called him a legend. Perhaps most damaging are the messages related to money. Ferguson has long acknowledged that she once accepted £15,000 from Epstein to help settle debts. But the newly surfaced emails suggest she may have asked him for additional financial help several times. One message reportedly asks for between $50,000 and $100,000 to help with what she described as small bills. Another email from 2009 allegedly reads, "I urgently need £20,000 for rent today. The landlord has threatened to go to the newspapers if I don't pay." There are also messages in which she appears to flatter Epstein extensively. In one exchange, she jokingly wrote that she was at his service, and even suggested marriage in a tongue-in-cheek way. All of these communications resurfaced at a moment when the royal family was already trying to distance itself from anything connected to Epstein. And that brings us to another major development in this story. Earlier this year, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former Duke of York, was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. According to police, he spent 11 hours in custody on his 66th birthday before being released under investigation. The allegations reportedly relate to claims that, during his time as Britain's trade envoy, he may have shared confidential information with Epstein. The investigation is ongoing, and at this stage no charges have been announced. However, the political and reputational damage was immediate. Last year, King Charles stripped Andrew and Sarah of their remaining royal titles and forced them to vacate Royal Lodge on the Windsor estate. That decision effectively ended the last formal ties they had to royal duties. The loss of Royal Lodge was particularly symbolic. The property had been Andrew's home for years, and Ferguson had continued living there with him despite their divorce decades earlier. Now both of them have been pushed completely outside the royal structure. For Ferguson, the timing could hardly be worse, because her financial history has been under scrutiny for many years. Royal author Andrew Lowney documented her spending habits in his biography about the House of York. According to his research, Ferguson lived what he described as a life of opulent excess during her marriage. One story often repeated is about the personal trainer she kept on standby at a cost of £65,000. Despite paying that enormous sum, she reportedly used the trainer only twice in a year. Then there were the shopping bills. Lowney wrote that Ferguson ran up more than £51,000 in purchases at Selfridge's department store. Much of the shopping was done through the store's personal shopper service, which was run by an old friend of hers. At one point, she allegedly spent £14,000 in a single month at a London wine merchant. And, according to former staff members, the extravagance extended to everyday household routines. A former employee told Lowney that each night enormous quantities of food would be laid out on the dining room table, including a whole side of beef, a leg of lamb, and a chicken. Some evenings, only Ferguson and her daughters were present, and much of the food reportedly went uneaten and was thrown away the next day. Creditors began pursuing relatively small unpaid bills. A newsagent reportedly refused to supply her after a £500 debt went unpaid. A butcher, a dry cleaner, and even a car hire company were listed among people seeking payment. Her BP petrol card was allegedly confiscated due to arrears. Despite all of that, Ferguson managed several financial comebacks over the years. That is why people are now looking at those luxury wellness retreats and wondering where the funding is coming from. She has no job prospects and has allegedly been dropped by every organisation she has ever associated with. Friends of Ferguson have begun speaking cautiously to the media about how she is coping with the situation. One close friend told People magazine that the scandal has shaken her deeply. According to that friend, Ferguson always believes she can bounce back from trouble, but this time feels different. One close friend told People magazine that the scandal has shaken her deeply. According to that friend, Ferguson always believes she can bounce back from trouble, but this time feels different. Another royal commentator, Ingrid Seward, has been more blunt. Seward suggested that Ferguson has survived many scandals over the years, but she believes the current climate is far less forgiving, and that the public may not welcome another comeback. Still, some people close to Ferguson insist she has not given up. One friend reportedly told journalists that resilience has always been her defining quality. In their words, she has always been a fighter and intends to keep fighting. There are even reports that she has been quietly searching for a new public relations team in the hope of rebuilding her reputation and returning to public work. Whether that will succeed remains uncertain. Meanwhile, the fallout has started affecting the next generation of the York family. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have managed to maintain relatively low-profile positions within the royal circle for years. They are not working royals, but they still hold their princess titles and have often attended royal events such as Royal Ascot. However, sources now claim the sisters may be quietly excluded from certain occasions. For now, though, the biggest mystery remains Sarah Ferguson herself. She has slipped quietly from one retreat to another, from a £13,000 a night clinic in Switzerland to ski resorts, Middle Eastern visits, and quiet coastal spas. And while she has vanished from public view, the questions surrounding her finances, her past relationships, and her possible return to public life continue to grow. Do you think Sarah Ferguson will manage another comeback like she has in the past? Or has this latest scandal finally closed that door for good? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoy staying up to date on the latest royal family developments, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next story.